up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Yo, set your affirmations, aspirations. I got shit to do, the aftermath of preparation. Good food, good mood, blood in circulation. One step at a time, yeah, that's how you make it. Set a goal you control and the steps you take them. I try to pick one thought, have some concentration. And if I make a mistake, it's called education. I try to do this every day, call it replication. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 So life ain't easy, yo, I think there's a reason though. Ups and downs, just like every different season, yo. Sometimes I'm high, other times I'm barely breathing, though. I always gotta fight and hide from the demons, yo. Negative thoughts are poison, they rot. Head full of flaws, so here come the clouds. They'll never stop unless I can swap all the bad for the good in my head when I'm lost. Yeah, so I'ma fake it till I make it. Positive thoughts are overtaken, I got patience. One day at a time is how you operate a cadence. A flow, you grow, you show yourself a foundation. Stay away from all the shit that causes temptation. I know that I like to do it cause it's sensation. I live my life in my head like a narration. Don't expect greatness, do my best, man, I'll take it. Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Wake up, really gonna rise with the sun. Step 2, get some good, some food in you. Step 3, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step 4, everybody just do your thing.
As you wake up in the morning, you want to find the latest, greatest information about criminal cases and have an intuitive conversation about the suspects associated with these cases. Head over to the Bullhorn Betty channel on YouTube. Get breaking news right here on the Bullhorn Betty channel. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty Coffee Club. Enjoy your stay and enjoy your day.
Hey guys, Bullhorn Betty here, giving you breaking daily updates related to the Sebastian Rogers case. This is going to blow your mind, guys. I've been personally covering the case of Sebastian Rogers, a 15-year-old autistic boy that disappeared from Hendersonville, Tennessee. His mother, Katie Proudfoot, and stepfather, Chris Proudfoot, came out and told their stories in this interview about what transpired related to the disappearance of their 15-year-old son. Katie, Sebastian's mother, describes the day before he disappeared, Sunday, February 25th. They went to BJ's, he got a colossal popcorn, he was just a very happy, jovial young man, and they came home, put some snacks away, and then they went to a local bowling alley, and next to the bowling alley was a steakhouse where they ate. After they ate, they loaded up and went home. He took out the garbage, and the rest is history. He goes to bed at 9 p.m. Mom goes to bed at midnight. She awakes at 6 a.m. to wake Sebastian up as she normally does, and he's gone. Christopher Proudfoot states that he was not even in the area at the time that Sebastian left the home, that he was many miles away as he was working in Memphis and staying in his camper in Mississippi. A lot of people watching this case unfold became very, very skeptical of both Katie and Christopher Proudfoot's story about what happened leading up to Sebastian's disappearance. Many people noticed the deep abrasion scratches in some areas looking like bite marks on Christopher Proudfoot's arms some 8 days after Sebastian disappeared. Seth Rogers, which is Sebastian's biological father, decided to start doing some ground searches and raised money on a GoFundMe page to aid those efforts. Christopher Proudfoot threatened Sebastian's father in a lawsuit related to the GoFundMe page, and also the fact that Seth appeared to make the other side of the family, look bad. Many people went out searching for Sebastian Rogers, and the one thing that was missing out of all the efforts volunteers put forth was Christopher and Katie Proudfoot. And when people asked them why they weren't out searching for their very son that went missing from their home, they told people that it was because law enforcement told them to stay home. However, that very evening, they were seen at a barbecue joint outside of the home enjoying a dinner. Meanwhile, never once searching for their very son that they say they care about and want to come home. Media was in an uproar, demanding answers from both Katie and Christopher Proudfoot why they're not helping with any searches for their son. And what was their response? They got in their camper, packed it up, and took off. Sebastian's mom and stepfather took off to a campground in Mississippi, where they returned home for a short while and then returned back to this campground. Right now, it appears that the camper is still at this mobile home park or RV park with Chris's truck, but we have confirmed Chris is not staying there and has installed a camera on the camper. There are so many people curious as to why there's a camera on this camper, but not on their home before Sebastian Rogers walked out that door. The sheriff was very cordial at the beginning of this search for Sebastian when he truly believed both Katie and Chris Proudfoot were deemed innocent and had no culpability in the disappearance of their son. If you look at the newest interview Nick Barris has with this very sheriff, you see a much different demeanor. Does this case anger me? You darn right. Does it make me want to almost lose my mind? You darn tootin'. Chris and Katie have a lot of explaining to do, because what I just laid out for you is only a minor, small amount of the case against them.
If you shave your cooch, but not your booty hole, is that the same as a mullet?
My tongue out her ass and left. I'm on TV. Oh shit! First cops, now this. Oh.
Well, good morning, my beautiful people here on YouTube. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty channel. If you guys have not met me, I'm Bullhorn Betty. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Saturday. We are going to be getting kind of right into the topic of conversation. We've already have a considerable amount of people in chat, so I want to say to everybody, thank you so much for being here. Aw, Melanie, you're so sweet. Good morning, love. Good morning. I don't know where Delilah is. I think she's in. I didn't want to say that too loud because you might come in here. I think she's maxing and relaxing on the couch. I don't know. She's chilling though. She's chilling. Mods and chat. Betty, you are the best. Much love to you and everyone. Thank you for your bright presence this beautiful, beautiful morning. Michelle gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. If you received your Bullhorn Betty membership from Michelle, tell her thank you and welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Get your straight jacket and pick your padded room. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Stephanie Marlowe, it's nice to see you this morning and thank you for the super sticker. God bless you guys. God bless you guys. I saw Justice Jane up in the house. Where is she? There she is. Oh, there it is. Hit that DNA. Put that DNA on the like button, y'all. It's nice to see you, Justice Jane, Stephanie, Brenda. Good morning, Tammy Crimes, Truth in Time, our beautiful Melanie up in the house. Mimi, good morning. Peggy, it's nice to see you. Brenda Sue, designed by 2E. Nice to see you. Our beautiful Linda is up in the house. S Dubs is up in the house. It is nice to see you, S Dubs. Gam to 3. Nice to see you, Love Bug. Hope you're doing well. We got Peggy Bears, Panda Bear's mom is up in the house. It's nice to see you. Georgia, Patriot Woman. In my opinion, alibi doesn't make sense. In my opinion, she's either getting rid of evidence or handing off Sebastian. That is what Georgia, Patriot Woman believes. God bless you. It's nice to have you. Faye is up in the house. It's nice to see you, Natalie. It's me, Laura. Good morning, Love Bug. I hope you're doing well. Marianne Hope. Outer Banks is up in the house. Good morning, my love. I hope you are doing well. What do we have? Lakeith. Sorry about that. I hate mispronouncing names, so hopefully I said that correctly. Still Waters, Brown Eyed Girl. I'm getting them all wrong. Rod, I got your name right. You got to bear with me. I'm on the second big large cup of espresso. So I got myself a caramel mocha latte. Boya. A little bit of everything up in the house. Forever Nikki's mom. It's nice to see you as well. Mama of 5. It's nice to have you up in the house. True Crime and the Missing. It's nice to see you here. Welcome. We have Oma, Jasper, Michael's up in the house. Angel, it's nice to see you. Our beautiful Gypsy, Hope in the Shadows. Don't forget to hit her up on YouTube. Spicy Disaster. Ooh. We have a little spicy quesadilla up in the house. Which one are you? I think you're probably, no, it's this one. It's nice to see you. Hot Damn is up in the house. It's nice to see you as well. CC, SJ, Passion Flower. Good morning, everyone. Pink Butterfly. It's nice to see you, Love Bug. I hope you're doing well. Dixie, good morning. Forever Nikki's mom. Oh, thank you. Gifted a Bullhorn Betty membership. And I know why Gypsy does it. She loves the Insane Asylum. So I'm going to give you an extra one. So if you received your Bullhorn Betty gifted membership from either Nikki's mom or Hope in the Shadows with Gypsy, please don't forget to tell them thank you. And for the lucky recipients of this honorable membership, welcome to this crazy family we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum. Grab your straight jacket and pick your brew. Welcome aboard. And the crazy lady screaming in the next room isn't Bullhorn Betty. It's Gypsy. I'm just letting you guys know. It's Gypsy. It's all her fault. Eeyore, it's nice to see you. Adrian, Still Waters. I think I said hi to you, but just in case I didn't. Gigi, it's nice to see you. YouTuber, good morning. Julie, Artfully Open. And we love open. Crime Story Diva, welcome. Little Red, it's nice to see you. Mia, it's nice to have you. Good morning. And who else do we have? Frankie, it's nice to see you as well. We got Tap Dancer as the newest member of this crazy crew we call the Coffee Club, i.e. the Insane Asylum.
You know the routine. Grab the straitjacket. It's the one to the left. It's the one to the left. Grab that and pick a room. I'd stay away from room 13. I'm just, just stay away from that room. But I'd pick any other room. I'd pick any other room. It's nice to see you, Kelly. It's nice to have you. SRK. Did I see? I missed a realtor Lulu. Nice to see you. SRK, SRK, SRK. Hey, Chastity is up in the house. It's nice to see you as well. Beth, good morning. Jojo, I got a secret. You keep it. Got a secret. Can you keep it? Excuse me. Izzy, it's nice to see you, Love Bug. I hope you're doing well. Rhonda's up in the house. Tap Dancer, the newest member. Nice to see you. SJ, thank you so much. Our beautiful River's up in the house. Nice to see you, River. Good morning, Love Bug. Fueled by coffee and crime up in the house. Frank, good morning. Dark Princess. Hey, hey, hey. Lindsay, it's nice to see you. And I'm either at the bottom or my mouse is giving up on me here. Who else do we have? Strawberry. It's nice to see you. Good morning, everyone. We have like 380 people in the house, so please don't forget to hit the thumbs up button. We're going to be going over a lot. This is a full credit to Chris at the Mob Crew. He released some information last night that we did not have previously. And this information, let me just give a backstory in case this is your first time coming to the Bullhorn Betty channel or seeing this child behind me. His name's Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian Rogers disappeared on February 26, 2024 when he was 15 years old. He was allegedly inside his home with only his mother. There was no evidence of any type of forced entry into that home. And the next morning by 6 a.m., he was gone. The caveat of this is while everybody's screaming, nothing to see over here, there were on March 14th, a local reporter by the name of Nick Barris had released some video. And this video showed disturbances going on between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. Coming off the kind of the side of their home and into this common area over to an unknown vehicle, parked in a very peculiar place at 3 o'clock in the morning. And that kind of set a lot of people off. But we've discussed the 3 a.m. car. As a matter of fact, we just had a conversation on the 3 a.m. car, I believe yesterday. And we also had a conversation about the alleged cameras in the house. Maybe it wasn't yesterday. It was the day before yesterday. Yesterday was the cameras in the house. And today it's about Ms. Proudfoot's movements prior to them calling law enforcement. And yes, you heard that, prior to calling law enforcement. So now we're getting a good timeline because many of us, well, we think it's a little odd about the 3-hour phone call the night before. The last person she spoke to was her husband. The first person she speaks to in the morning, so the last person she speaks to before she hangs up and goes to sleep is her husband. And the very first person she calls in the morning is her husband. And we don't know the specific time she called him because as we're going to learn, we're going to get all the videos back up here. You're going to see every statement they've made about this this morning, this time, from the time she woke up to realizing her son was missing to calling law enforcement. We were told for over a year immediately. We learned, I don't know, at least by April 8th, that this timing of call to law enforcement and the manner and handling of the call to law enforcement by the mom and her husband has been suspect in our minds for quite some time. So I think we need to set the foundation as we build this timeline. So we're going to go back. We're going to go back in time and we're going to listen. We're going to open our ears. And now we're going to apply the information to the new information so we have complete clarity of how things are transpiring that morning that Sebastian was reported missing. I think this is crucial because many of us believe, if you're like me, my theory is something happened to him the night before. The late Peter Hyatt stated he believes, based on, because he is in my understanding, a world renowned statement analysis, and has done training all over the world, all over our country, teaching people statement analysis. Very, top of his expertise and field. And so we like to have those types of experts that can lend their opinion. Okay. Now, I want to stress the opinion, because some people feel like they have to be factually correct. It's not, it's leading us to fact, but it's their opinion based on what they say, based upon their experience in their field, an opinion. So an opinion could be, correct, or you could have an outlier situation where the statistics you were relying on to formulate your opinion are inaccurate, because most people go for the statistics, right? And so we cater to the higher statistics as opposed to the lower statistics, because the lower statistics are what we would typically refer to as outliers. Okay, so if that makes sense. So this morning that Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers disappeared, we have very, very specific. Ooh, I forgot one of the interviews that we need. We need the Nancy Grace interview back up. So we will get to the Nancy Grace. It's the one interview I forgot to grab. So I just want to go through some things, and I'm trying to figure out whether I should show you the information and then explain it, or I should start walking us through the information and get to the honeypot, right? So I think what I'm going to do is walk you through the information first. So when we learned about this case, we learned, some of you guys learned it from a content creator known as Duchess. Okay. She was the absolute first person. This was 8 days after this child went missing, or something to that effect. The case itself was already taking a turn to a criminal investigation at this point. They had searched the area. We heard from the EMA director, whatever Matt Widener. I know his last name's Widener. I can't remember his first name. We heard from the sheriff, we heard from the EMA director, we heard from other searchers on the ground that they were in a they were in a pickle. They didn't say those words, but they were in a pickle, because as the EMA director was stating to everybody, this was weird in his 20, 30, whatever years of experience this guy had, not collecting or picking up a scent of a child that ran away. And that was, I think, their first red flag internally. So that was starting to be really well known by, I want to think, day 4 is when we were really starting to know that there's some peculiarness with this scent, and not being able to track Sebastian. And so it came, the sheriff came out and said, no, we did not get a scent of Sebastian. He was not tracked. They didn't explain what the dog was tracking, but they said specifically it absolutely 100% was not Sebastian. And that was right on, like a few days before they decided to execute a search at the landfill. So now we have their boats in the water, still conducting water searches, and now they're going to the landfill. This is, for somebody that covers true crime, this is telling me what law enforcement is feeling at the time, which is not good. So they decided to scale back this search and start focusing more on the investigative side of this case. And right at that point is when the mom and her husband start making debuts on social media, mainstream media. And one of the things that most people, especially the people that were reaching out to me at the time, were noticing was that they weren't really talking about Sebastian or anything that could help them find Sebastian. It was all about them and their feelings. And I'm certainly, that's, we're used to parents losing their children and how anxious they are, how unnerved they are. And certainly that's not the case here with a medically needy child. And of course, when I started getting involved in this case, in the middle of March, I went back and, you do your research, you go back and you start hearing these. So one of the first interviews that I knew of was the WSMV video. It wasn't until much later in this case that I realized that they had an earlier video on Duchess. And then we started focusing on that because that truly was the first. And what got me to look for it was Steve Johnson on the interview room. And he said, and they were analyzing the statements of Chris and Katie from the green shirt interview. But one statement he made was, you really want to find the very first interview they give, because that is most likely the statement that they made to law enforcement, or the closest statement of what they most likely made to law enforcement. Lisa says, hold on. I remember Mr. E talking about the feet not wanting their last name out there originally. Yes, the whole situation, we didn't learn this information as it was happening. We learned it after the fact. But once you started applying those after the fact situations, you realize that this is different than the other missing children cases we've dealt with. This is, not hey, Mr. E Crimecast, it's nice to see you. You guys did a great job last night. I'm sorry I couldn't talk too much because I'm a plaintiff in that I really couldn't comment too much on anything that you guys were talking about. But I just want to tell you, you guys did a phenomenal, and I mean phenomenal job. So, thank you. I figured you guys would. So, but I think you guys did an amazing job, and I wish I could have been, but I said hi. I was in there saying hi to everybody. That's about as much as I was allowed to say. Hey, that's what I felt like. I kept saying, like, hey, everybody. Hey, everybody. That was my thumbs up, I guess. Maybe just, I don't know. I should probably shut up, but thank you for everything. I do appreciate it. So let's go to the first one. Let's hear, because I'm not going to play all of this stuff. There's other sections in this. When we get to those topics of conversation, we will play. But for the sake of this, we're only focusing on now the what was she doing that morning? Okay, so now she realizes it's 6 a.m. She goes into the room. She finds out Sebastian isn't there. What did she do? Right? And when did they call law enforcement? Because this is going to be critical in the new information that Mob Crew released. So we're going to set the stage, we're going to build the foundation, and then we're going to drop the bomb. Oh, I'm on the wrong one. Hold on. Sorry, I didn't have that one up there. It should be this one. Hopefully I didn't lose my audio. Okay, it doesn't look like I lost my audio. Let's play it from here.
Go to bed. Now, mind you, that was right around midnight, just before midnight or right around midnight.
Mhm.
So then mom does go to bed and wakes up early in the morning to go wake her son up, get him ready for school. And now we have a worried mom who can't find her son in the house. Mom made an effort to look and search several times. Mom has called me at the time and asked me, she was like, I can't find him. I was like, do what? She goes, yeah, I cannot find him. I said, well, hang on. I made the phone call and reported it to the sheriff's department because that's what we're supposed to do.
Okay. So in here, the mom finds out the son is not in his bed. She calls her husband, again, the last person she hung up the phone with, right around 6:03, according to this particular statement. That changes slightly, which almost makes what I'm going to be showing you even more difficult to pass away, to dismiss. Okay. So we've got the 911 call going on in accordance to Mr. Proudfoot, at least by 6:05. We all know at this stage of the game that is not true, right? But we do know that that is what was originally told to the public. This is the very first interview to the public, and he talks about going, talking to Katie, saying, "Did you look here?" And then immediately calling the law enforcement, because that's what they do. Let's hear what he did again. Let's just go back 15 seconds and listen to that again.
Mom has called me at the time and asked me, she was like, I can't find him. I was like, do what? She goes, yeah, I cannot find him. I said, well, hang on.
Well, hang on. He didn't tell her in this statement to go look here, look there, or look everywhere. He just said, hold on.
I made the phone call and reported it to the sheriff's department.
I made the phone call and reported it to the sheriff's department. So what we have here is the very first statement from them, which according to Steve Johnson, would be the most resemble the statements that they would have made to law enforcement at this juncture. From this point forward, they anticipate modifications depending on people's statements or even the questioning from law enforcement to start critiquing their story. So, according to this very first story, this is what was stated, and this is what they just stated, that the mother woke up, did not find her child in the bed. We don't know whether she looked around because they didn't talk about that. They talked about her calling him within 3 minutes. Maybe she did earlier say she looked around the house. She called him within 3 minutes. Now, remember, he's taking over what happened. Now, believe what you want to believe. If you believe a statement, don't believe a statement. This is what was said. That's all we need this for, is what was their actual statements. I don't care whether they're true or untrue at this juncture, because we're building on their statements. It doesn't really matter whether they're true or not, because the information out there will show whether their statements are true or not. Okay. So we've got them saying that she woke up at 6. By 6:03, she called her husband. He realized the child wasn't there and immediately called law enforcement. That's what he said. Okay. So now let's go over to the second interview that they had the very next day. Yes, on three-way, but we're not really worried about the three-way. We'll get it. That's a different topic of conversation. We're only focusing on their behaviors that morning. Yes, three-way would be peculiar behavior, but I don't think it's going to be something we're going to be really, zoning in on for this topic, anyways. But now we're going to listen to the statements on timing when they made this call, according to this next interview a day later. So after they've already had their dry run on Dutchess, let's see if there's any changes or deviations from these statements.
Three minutes in, give or take, I was on the phone with my husband. I said, I can't find him. He said, what do you mean you can't find him? I said, he's not in the house.
And so at that point, is that when you call 911, or what's going through your mind?
While we were on the phone, and I was like, is he on the other side of the bed? The normal places he may be in the house, and he wasn't. So I was like, okay.
So in this story, a day later, now he's saying, oh, she called me within the 3 minutes. She said she can't find him. She's looked everywhere. Now he's piping in saying, oh, have you looked here? Have you looked there? Now let's see what happens once she's looked where Chris has now told her, which again, in the first interview, I don't recall him saying any of those statements, but we didn't see the whole thing, so it's out of context. So we're just going to focus on the timing of the 911 call. It's very crucial.
Okay, well, hold on a minute. And immediately after that, we called the sheriff's department.
Okay, so in this one, much like the Dutchess interview, nobody left the house. They looked around, they couldn't find anything, and they immediately call law enforcement. Even with all of this, it seems like the call would come into law enforcement at 6:05. And I know you guys are screaming this, Betty, we know what time the call came in. I understand we do. We're getting there. We're getting there. Work with me here. Give me a little bit of leeway because we're building up. We're building up. So now let's hear what time they call on the hands video. And the hands video was by March 10th. So this was almost a week later. So now they've had their Duchess interview, their WSMV interview. People are really, social media at this time is going crazy. There's everybody, Instagram, TikTok, X, Facebook, and YouTube are going crazy. And those are the main social medias. I don't even know about, other social medias that don't have the following that the main social media channels have. And so now we've learned that this call should have come in. Right? Should have come in based upon all these stories we've heard so far by 6:05 in the morning. Now let's see what they say in their third interview related to that morning of their missing son.
And when you panicked, what did you do?
First thing I did was call my husband, and I said, he's not here. My husband said, what do you mean he's not here? I said, he's not in the house. And he said, immediately just started, did you check here? Did you check there? Did you look here? And I ran through the house. And at that point, I was hysterical, for lack of a word. And we three-wayed the police. And I'm within minutes, they were here. I couldn't tell.
So they just gloss over everything and basically say he wasn't there. They looked around the house. This is around the house again. And immediately called law enforcement. Again, should that call have come in, it should have came in based upon these 3 separate interviews. Should have came in no later than 6:05, 6:06, 6:07 in the morning. It doesn't, if you don't believe me, take a stopwatch and go through your house and see how long it takes it. Believe it or not, 60 seconds, 120 seconds is a long time. Okay? If you don't believe me, you got some activities to do. Do a stopwatch. If you have a cell phone, you have a stopwatch. If you have a smart watch, you have a stopwatch. So you can check yourself. You can run this test yourself. If you choose to do that, let me know what your results were. Bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. Please give me just some basic information about your house. How large is your house? How many bedrooms, bathrooms, and where you checked. If you have a cubby hole or one of those, what are they called? Crawl spaces. Let me know if you have a crawl space under your house and if it's connected to an interior part of your house from the inside. I also want to know that. So now let's listen to the last one that actually I've got another one, but the other one's going to be kind of the last one because it is the outlier and it's the second interview on Duchess and how they are trying to that's going to be a separate issue. We're going to open up the phone lines here in just a little bit so you guys can explain what your theories are on this, and then we'll close the phone lines and then close out with this monstrosity on the second interview with Duchess. So let's hear what they say on Chronicles of Olivia. Chronicles of Olivia is kind of where we all believe. This is kind of where I turned. I was kind of on the fence. If you guys know anything about me, I was on the fence in this case. I was reading everything, nothing really pointing to the mom and stepdad. Yeah, there were some inconsistent statements that everybody was pointing out. And I was explaining to them, those are theories and I get it, but we've got nothing. We don't have a bombshell lie that has been said that's really so wildly different than any other statement we heard. So I can't really run with that because it's a rumor. We need, even we can talk about the rumor, but we can't dive into it as fact. So I was really on the fence up until and at this time, Olivia was at Riley Strain's case. Somebody had reached out. I didn't even know she was doing this interview. I didn't know she was doing this interview until she had released it. And I'm like, I call Olivia immediately. I'm like, Olivia, I didn't know you were interviewing with these people. And she goes, yeah, so and so said that these people were missing their son. So I wasn't familiar with the case. So I just went out there and just wanted to feature, excuse me, just want to feature their son. And I said, oh, okay. And at this time there were some, he had said something about hip hop on the WSMV video, and people were passing around that Chris was, racist or whatever. So I asked her, I said, did they make you feel uncomfortable in your house or their house or anything? She's like, no, no, no. So I relayed that information to kind of tone that rhetoric down, because we really have nothing to support it. And just because somebody doesn't like hip hop, maybe they just don't like the words in hip hop. I like to dance to hip hop, but I don't like the trash that's out there right now. I don't listen to it. Okay. If I wanted to be 20 years old and listen about bitches and hoes, then I would do it. But I'm 45 years old, about to turn 46. I'm over the bitches and hoes. Okay. So I listen to other stuff. I like R&B. I like a lot of different music, but occasionally if they got some 90s stuff on there, not like I used to like Easy E and I just a lot of them. So Shorty Too Short. Oh God. I could list them. Okay, I did have a phase where I wore my pants around my booty. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. It's life. It's life. We go through phases. I had a phase. Okay. I had a phase, and I had a boyfriend with a lowrider. Okay, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. So, anyways, we're over here, and this was really the first time that I started hearing some major, and I mean major, differences in their story. And this is when Bullhorn Betty was officially over the fence at this point. It was this interview and this interview alone that pushed me over the fence. So let's hear what they have to say about all of this.
Hollering his name, and I picked up the phone and I called my husband and I said, I can't find him. And he said, what do you mean? I said, he's not in this effing house. I can't find our son. And I jumped in my car and I drove around the neighborhood and I drove over by the school, and he's already,
which we have already know what this is, but this is her now statement. Now she's out of the house driving the car. We never heard that she was outside of the house driving the car until this interview, because I just played for you all 4 interviews before this interview. Not one time were they talking about being out of the house, but this is the first time we learn that Katie, the mom of Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers, left her home to allegedly go look for her son outside of the home. So let's keep listening.
At this point, I was hysterical, and I was crying, I was screaming, and he was like, three-wayed. He three-wayed law enforcement.
So he three-wayed law enforcement while she was out looking for her son. She got in her car. Let's listen. We have to listen to this with specificity and learn exactly what she says she did when she got in the car.
My car, and I drove around the neighborhood and I drove over by the school, and he's already at this point I was hysterical, and I was crying, I was screaming, and he was like, three-wayed. He three-wayed law enforcement, and was telling them our son is missing and we don't know what's going on. And he was like, go back to the house, they're on their way. And I ran back.
So she was out when he called. So this is going to be the foundation that we are going to build this show on. Okay, so now what we have learned is that initially they would have called. Now we're going to have to do some timing on this. So initially, based upon the first 3 interviews, they should have made that call by 6:05 in the morning based on reality of how quickly people move around, how long a minute is when you're looking for somebody in closets and stuff like that. And now this one, we're hearing that she was on the phone with her husband within a minute, not 3 minutes, within a minute. So now we're at 6:01, 6:02. And she gets in her car. Now, let me tell you, the school is a half a mile up the road. Okay, so now they have this conversation. She can't find him. So at approximately 6:03 to 6:04, you would presume that she's leaving the house. It takes to go up to the school, it takes about 2.5 minutes, if even that, and 2.5 minutes back. So we can have 5 minutes added. Now we can put that up to 7 minutes. It's not going to really make a difference, just to be conservative and give her a little extra time in case she's driving really slow, making sure she's looking for her son and all. So let's put that into perspective. And we have 6:11. 6:11 is about the approximate time, based on their statements, that a phone call should have been going into law enforcement for their missing child. And the reason why I didn't give her too much time on the drive, because I know it's 2.5 minutes there and 2.5 minutes back, but also because we know she never stopped at the school, got out of her car at any point in time to talk to anybody about if they saw her son. So it was kind of a drive in, drive around, drive back out type of thing. And we're still giving her an additional 2 minutes for that. So we're looking at approximately, with this new updated information, at approximately 6:11 a.m., they should have been calling law enforcement. Based upon the 3 prior interviews, that call should have been in by 6:05, no later than 6:05. But then we have, hold on. Let me see if this one's going to pull up. I might have to refresh it. Dad burn it. I hope it's not going to screw up my. All right, hold on. I got to find it. It's at 16:03. I know where it's at. 16:33 is exactly where I need to be. All right. So now this one might, hopefully it doesn't kill my system. It didn't kill my system. So we're still doing good, guys. We're still doing good on audio. So now let's find out when the call truly came in. And we all know the answer to this, but again, it's the foundation on which we're building.
We haven't made a process.
Call came in at 6:33 this morning.
Okay. So now that we know that the call came in at 6:03 or 6:33, and you take 6:11 away from that, there's another 22 minutes that are not accounted for. 22 full minutes not accounted for, right? Based upon their statement. The mob crew came out last night and showed us an image with a timestamp. And it blows this BS morning story completely out of the water. So let's set this up. We all also know that Seth Rogers, Sebastian's dad, he received a text, a 911 text at 6:20 in the morning, some 13 minutes before they called law enforcement. Now, according to the statement, the 4th or 5th interview is the only time she left the home. And according to them, she would have left the home right after searching every place that Chris told her to search. She was hysterical, jumped in her car, left the home. She would have left that home based upon her calling her husband within a single minute. She would have been out of the home between 6:03 and 6:04. And the ride, we're giving her 4 minutes, an additional 3 minutes or 3.5 minutes, 2.5 minutes more than the drive itself. And we hear she drove in, went up, turned around, came back home. What time was that? What time was that? So now we're going over to the mob crew. And here we have him discussing a photo he's about to present. So he's assessing this at 6:03. Woke up SR missing. He's giving her 3 minutes to get from her room to his room in the morning. Chris three-ways shortly after that at 6:05. 6:05. Now we know that seen outside for SR. I don't know what that is. Was she on the phone at 6:20 in the morning? So 15 minutes, she's still in the home. Now, mind you, they're panicking. They're on the phone from 6 o'clock, 6:01, 6:03 in the morning between Chris and Katie. And they find more time to pick up the phone at 6:20 to try to reach out to Seth before they even call law enforcement. But that's still not the shocker. So she was seen, as you can see here, seen driving up Kellen at 6:32 in the morning. 6:32 in the morning. So now we have to take this information and we have to put it in chronological order. She wakes up at 6 a.m. By 6:03, she knows her son's missing and calls her husband. They stay on the phone for 30 minutes. They call Seth before she even gets in her car to go look for her son. She's calling Seth to tell him her son's missing before she even goes and looks for him. Let's watch this. And I find it awfully suspect. It's only 30 seconds before, about 30 or 45 seconds before the call is initiated to law enforcement. So they're like, oh, well, we need to call law enforcement. Hey, get in your car and go leave the house. That, to me, is wild. To catch her on anything at 6:32 in the morning when she has already said she has gone to the school and back before that time. We all wanted to know what time Katie was observed outside of her home. It was 30 minutes after she gets on the phone with Chris. She decides to go get in her car and drive the neighborhood in the school. Who talks for 30 minutes to someone hours away when your son is missing? Great question, Susan. Great question. But my biggest bombshell is I truly believe they waited until she left the house before they dialed law enforcement so it could have the appearance that she was looking for her son outside of the house when they made the call. Because they make the call within 30 seconds, 45 seconds of her leaving out of her home. And she had to turn around and rush right back. Huh. Let's listen.
On. So because I put her at about 6:22 when she left. And then at 6:32, here we are.
So he's saying that he's got her leaving the school at 6:22, but I don't have evidence or information out there saying she left the school at 6:22. He says right here, leaves home to school 6:22. And she drives around 10 minutes and is seen driving up Kellen at 6:33. Where's this? Because right now what we see is a lady that is driving up Kellen. We hear from his own words, turned around at Devin, kind of like that mysterious car that was seen the night before, and goes back toward the school. Listen to how he explains it.
Real quick, you know. So take that for what it's worth. All right. From there, this is where we'll get a new screenshot. So the next time, and this is where, remember where she said she was gone anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. This 10 minutes is almost spot on.
What did he say? This 10 minutes isn't spot on? Let's hear what he says.
So the next time, and this is where, remember where she said she was gone anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. This 10 minutes.
Oh, okay, because he knows what time okay, I see what he's doing. He's deducting. So he says that he knows that she was gone 10 minutes, and so he knows that she was seen at 6:33. So he's deducted 10 minutes, but I beg to differ on that 10 minutes based upon this information. That's what I'm understanding he's saying. If I'm wrong, let me know. But let's listen to what he says.
Right. From there, this is where we'll get a new screenshot. So the next time, and this is where, remember where she said she was gone anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes. This 10 minutes is almost spot on. So because I put her at about 6:22 when she left. And
that's based upon her statement. Again, I don't believe that's the statement. And we need to know what direction she was going. She was going up Kellen, but with only having this photo of her, we don't know what she was doing before. Is this on her way back? Because if it was on her way back, then she wasn't gone for 10 minutes. There's no way it takes her 10 minutes to go from her house to the school and from the school back to her house. There's no possible way. She never stopped, allegedly. She's never got out of her car, allegedly. She definitely never went inside the school for a fact. So how in the world does it take you 10 minutes to drive 2.5 minutes away and back? That doesn't make sense. If that is true, there is 5 minutes unaccounted for. And we have to understand, we're on the heels of a Brian Koberger case, which slaughtered 4 people inside a home in 9 minutes or under. Okay, so 5 minutes is a long time, is what I'm trying to say. So where was she for 5 solid minutes if the 10-minute information is true, which I highly doubt? I think that this was a ploy to set up. We know that if Kathy was really at Warsham's at 5:48, it's 20 minutes drive from the Sox to the neighborhood. That means Kathy had to have left the home by 5:28 to get to Warsham's by 6:48. Yes, that is correct. That is correct. So, but that time of morning, there's not a whole lot of people on the road at 5:30 in the morning, so she might not have had to leave that early to get there. It might have taken her more like, 18 minutes to get there or 19 minutes to get there or something. Those minutes do count. Those minutes matter. Those minutes matter. But it definitely would imply that Kathy knew about his disappearance before the mother did. That's what that implies. So we have 5 minutes, and it also brings you back down and around to the whole Warsham's conversation as well. Because Warsham's, there were over 6 people that believe that they saw Chris's mother at Warsham's. This is not statement Bullhorn Betty is making out of her butt. I know you guys have heard them too because they've been all over social media and everything else. There were several people that believe they saw Kathy Bowersox up there sitting on the side of Warsham's. Now, I don't know where, I've never met these people, so I don't know where specifically they said she was parked. They just say sitting at, on the side of Warsham's, but there's 2 sides to Warsham's, one with gas pumps and one without. And then there's still the front part of it as well. So if she was on the side, I don't know what side she was on, but either way, it was alleged that Chris's mom was sitting there, and Katie went through the parking lot very fast at that school to the other side, which is a driveway that goes from the school's driveway over to the Warsham's store, kind of at little bit of an angle, but you can get right over there to the Warsham's store. So that has always been suspect. But for me to believe that this lady left at 6:22 because she said that she was gone for 10 minutes really doesn't make me feel all warm and fuzzy. You know, when did she specifically leave her house? We do not have that information. But I can tell you she was seen on Kellen at 6:33 in the morning, some 30 to 45 seconds before a call was initiated to law enforcement. Some 30 minutes later. You have had a child, right? And I'm talking to my audience. You've had a child for 15 years and you have never woke up in your house without your child being in bed. Would you truly take 30 minutes to call your child in missing? Put a 1 in the chat if you would, put a 2 in the chat, absolutely not. Now, we're not talking about, after school or didn't come home from playing with friends. We're talking about your child went to bed inside your home and you woke up the next morning and your child was nowhere to be found. Would it take you 30 minutes to call law enforcement?
And at 6:32, here we are.
There's the timestamp. February 26th at 6:32.
New screenshot for you guys. And that is Katie's baby blue Infinity. I know it doesn't look baby blue.
Now, the reason why it doesn't look baby blue is because when you have security cameras, they may only have a different range of color than other cameras. Some cameras have a lot of ranges of colors that give you that really rich color, and some are lower grade that have a small color scale. And those color scales change the color, and some of the images may be a hazier or crystal clear. It just really depends on your equipment. So I do believe that this would be Miss Proudfoot's vehicle being observed at 6:32 23 in the morning.
Blue. And I know it looks a little bit like Bowersock's vehicle. I promise you, that's the first thing that when we saw this.
And I agree with that. It's not because of the boxiness, and he goes through that.
Her car. So this is her car. Paula says, I can tell you I would drive around more than 5 to 10 minutes. That's for sure. Yeah, and that's
another thing. I can tell you I would have drove around for more than 5 to 10 minutes. That's for sure. Most people would call law enforcement and have somebody already out in the neighborhood looking. But I find it awfully suspect that she reached out to 0 neighbors to ask if her son was missing. I also find it awfully suspect that the first statement made to Chris when Seth called is "Don't be mad," never asking him if he heard from Sebastian or was with Sebastian for any reason. He automatically assumed that Seth would have had no contact with him. That to me is a red flag, because especially if you think that there was something going on and the only person that he would try to make it to would be his father, you would think that the first natural question would be, have you talked to your son? Your son is missing. Have you heard from him? Did he talk to you about wanting to run away or being, unhappy in the house? Did he talk to you about something bothering him? The normal questions people would ask were not asked. They were already assumed that Sebastian didn't. How would Chris know that at that time?
what a lot of mothers say. I'm just looking at chat here, trying to spend more time with Dollar. I'm sorry, Dollar.
think that's really it. Is it?
How would he be able to do that if he's calling 911 and he's on a three-way call? Ginger, if there's any information like where I could source that a little bit more, that would be very interesting, Gigi. Thank you for sharing that.
So he didn't realize what the conversation is, because I watched this portion, I went through it, is that he didn't realize Seth was reached out to by phone and text at 6:20 in the morning. They were calling Seth to report his son missing before they reported it to law enforcement. And she waited until they were getting ready to call law enforcement. And even if we were to, let's put this into perspective. Let's play devil's advocate here. If we do have something showing she left that neighborhood at 6:22, that would mean that she called Seth to tell him her son, that report Sebastian missing before she ever even left her house to go look for him. This, to me, is huge, breaking, bombshell information that we did not have 24 hours ago. This goes directly to the timeline, and it causes more questions than it answers. Why did it take her so long to leave her house to go search for her son? And why is she calling her ex to report her son missing before she searches for him or even calls law enforcement? Now, there is a poll in the chat. We're about to open up the phone lines for those that would like to commentate on the topic of discussion today. We do have a poll. If you guys would like to take it, we have about 500. Oh, it's moving up. It's moving up. I don't know if you guys have taken it yet, but if you guys haven't taken it, please do. I'd like to get 12 more votes in. 12 more votes. The question is, why did Katie leave the house on February 26, 2024? Your first question, or the first answer, is to search for Sebastian. The second is to dump evidence. The third is to set up an alibi. If you would like to have your voice heard in this poll, please go ahead and poll now. Give me just a second. Let me just refresh. All right, 6:03. So our poll is set up an alibi. It was 47% of the vote. 47%. The next was 39% to dump evidence. And only a mere 13% believes Katie left the house to actually search for Sebastian Rogers. Busted Flush believes there was no three-way call. Interesting. Well, we would definitely not have access to prove that, or, one way or the other, because we don't have the subpoena power or warrant power to get those documents from the phone company or their internet service provider. But what we can say is that law enforcement would have those details. And I truly believe law enforcement has been giving the mom and stepfather the stink eye from the beginning. And it's based upon this statement right here. Let me refresh. I have to refresh my screen. Okay. Okay. And let me find my my transcript. And it's based upon this statement right here. Oops. It's based upon this statement right here. It's in 12 seconds from this. Let me play this, put this up on the screen. All right.
I know that it was very dark that night. I mean, it gets dark around here at night in general, but So far, we haven't found him on any camera footage to prove where he's at.
Right there.
Or where he's gone.
Right there. I think law enforcement has been interrogating them and not believing their story as of the time that the investigation took a turn. This was the second interview that they provided on March 4th. March 4th is when they put this interview out, and it was those words that she said, and those words were, so far, we haven't found him on any camera footage to prove where he's at or where he's gone, to prove. So that language is telling me law enforcement was already down their throat on proving how Sebastian was able to get out of the home. Now, one of the critical pieces of information that we need to look at is because we're finding out this particular situation is playing out in a courthouse on a crime of the century, so to speak, and that's the Idaho 4. And the information from the Idaho 4 trial is going to be very important for this case and processes for you to understand. For example, in the Brian Kohberger case, now that documents are being released to the public so we can finally get an idea of what happened, we are learning that they did this reenactment. Do you understand? Law enforcement got together and reenacted what they knew about Brian Kohberger's movements to see if he would have time to be able to unalive 4 people in that window of time that he was inside the home. And they have determined that it is true. We learned from Miss Bobby that there was a reenactment going on 2 weeks after Sebastian disappeared, and I guarantee that these videos that we're now finally getting a little piece of information from were seen and known to law enforcement, and I truly do believe that they were reenacting what they saw on those videos to see if those lights that were released by Nick Barris were plausible. And I am almost certain that they will have a finding that it is plausible. It's very, very interesting. All right, guys, enough with me. I know that it's been a long while since we've turned on these phones, but we're going to turn these phones on because I was supposed to turn them on last night, but I did not realize that there was going to be a huge filing. Mr. and Mrs. E Crimecast, along with Auntie E, went over some documents related to the case that's going on. And so I decided not to run my show, because I was only going to have like an hour to run my show and then to be over to Mr. and Mrs. E's. It was just going to be too hard. We would only be able to get a few phone calls in. I am kind of left to my own devices today, and I do have things to do, but we do have the ability to take a few phone calls today and speak about what we have learned. So let me just make sure that my ringers and everything are on. Okay, I can hear that. All right. So let me go ahead and put this up. We don't do this very often. We have 786 people in chat. If you guys would like to call into the show, the number is 724-252-8070. I'm not dyslexic, but you wouldn't know it. You wouldn't know it. So there's the call. If you guys would like to call in, the phone lines are open. But I just find it awfully interesting. And the reason why I had to build this is because you needed to hear all the statements that Chris and Katie were making related to Sebastian, what happened that morning. And I find it awfully suspect that she never left the house until after they made a call to the father. And shortly, literally a few minutes before, because remember, she allegedly was far away from the house. She was already at the school allegedly when the call to law enforcement came in. This also proves that statement not to be true because she was literally on Kellen coming back allegedly or leaving allegedly. I'd like to see the videos to see what we have, but at literally 30 seconds before they called law enforcement. 30 seconds. She was already home when allegedly she was told to go home. Law enforcement was on the way. Allegedly. And we can definitely see the timestamp on her car being right around the corner from her house. 30 seconds before the call came into not even 911, the non-emergency dispatch line, because it wasn't emergency. So she's okay enough to drive a motor vehicle, but she's not okay enough to make her own 911 call or her own report. There's so much in here that doesn't make sense. And how is she so hysterical on this particular day when she finds out her son's missing, but not 8 days later when her son still hasn't been found? These are critical questions you may want to ask yourself as well. You may want to ask yourself, I can't tell because sometimes this stuff doesn't work. Oops. Day is it? March 22nd. Again, the phone number for the show is, do I have it right on the screen? Yes. 724-252-8070. I can't tell if my ear stuff is not working because we do have those problems on this show, but I can't tell. I don't hear the phone ringing. So if you guys are calling, I can't hear you. Can somebody let me know that if they are calling? In my opinion, it was part of the plan. See? And I do believe there was a plan. I don't think it was a premeditated plan, though. I think there was a plan. I think the plan took 3 hours to carve out, and that explains the 3-hour conversation. Milla, same footage. And you guys... This is Betty. Can you hold on just a second to make sure that my audience can hear you?
Absolutely.
Thank you. Can you guys hear that? Hold on. I'm waiting for some responses. We got a 20-second. Well, I'll just talk to you today. Okay, they can hear you. Who's this and where are you calling from?
This is You Can't See Me / Lisa B. Always.
Oh, hey, love. How are you doing?
Well, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. I feel like I'm on a commercial for a cell phone.
Yeah. Well, there has always been a lot of confusion about this timeline. And I believe Chris from the mob crew was talking about the neighbor across the street and her timeline from her Ring doorbell camera, seeing Katie outside at 6:20 saying she couldn't find Sebastian. And that was interesting because was she on the phone? Nobody said she was on the phone. Did she have a Bluetooth in her ear?
That is a great you know what? I think we were asking about that. I don't think we had a conclusion about that. But you're right. If she was outside searching with her neighbor at, 6 something in the morning, she should have already been on the phone with Chris.
Right. And who doesn't call the father of their child immediately when there's an issue? She had the emergency list numbers to get a hold of Seth. It's just, It's also suspect. It's ridiculous. And why have Chris call Seth? Why not Katie?
Exactly.
Take responsibility, woman. Adult up for your son.
Absolutely, absolutely. And not only that, but we didn't hear this hysteria. We didn't hear all of this about how hysterical she was until like almost a month after Sebastian disappeared. And that's when she was on Chronicles of Olivia. And she's saying she was using choice words now and that she was hysterical for lack of better words. And it's like, well, why were you hysterical then but not hysterical when law enforcement came up. And why aren't you even more hysterical 8 months or 8 days after your child hasn't been seen?
Well, and I don't believe the neighbor across the street reported her as being hysterical. I believe she just saw her out walking around and saying she couldn't find Sebastian.
Mm-hmm.
There's a difference between walking around, I can't find Sebastian, and being hysterical.
Right. Right. I agree. And you know what was really weird is she got in her car, but she never got it. Like she's saying that she wanted to go see if he walked to school without his shoes on for whatever reason. That seemed odd, for me. But I don't think she realized the shoes were still there. But she says she was going up to school to see if Sebastian had made it up there. But don't you think it's odd that she went up to the school but never got out of her car to talk to the principal or any type of administrators in there to tell them to immediately call her if her son shows up? Isn't that odd?
That wasn't just odd. That was so planned because from what I understand, she drove straight through the parking lot and went out to Warsham's.
Yeah. And then comes back through speeding through the parking lot.
Right.
Which doesn't make sense because they're trying to explain that away as that being the call to law enforcement, but clearly they didn't call the law enforcement until 30 seconds after her car is on camera on Kellen in their neighborhood, in their own neighborhood.
Right. And then again, we have the whole factor of Mama Socks being at Warsham's. Did she meet her there? Did she hand off evidence? I believe there was a handoff. I do.
Yeah. And I think it's funny
strongly believe
that kids found a not kids, but people searching found that that mattress pad, which is specifically for autistic children, and a box that had Katie's name on it with pictures in it or something like that. I mean, that's weird.
Let's look at it. That was evidence.
Yeah, that's just weird for those things. And I wonder if that's her handwriting. I've never seen Katie's handwriting. Heck, I've never even really laid eyes on her, but maybe one time, and that was at court, So
Right. I just wanted to come in and come out and say I'm not, you can't see me anymore. I am back to Lisa B always. The joke is over. It went stale.
Lisa B always is out of the closet. Sorry, I got to do it.
Good for you. Ah! Thank you so much for this time, Betty.
Absolutely, Lisa. Absolutely. As always, it's wonderful hearing your voice, and I hope you call again.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right, the phones are back on. I got to turn my mic down just a second. There we go. So I gotta admit that it is awfully suspect. I mean, there's just a lot of things that don't make sense when you really try to, hone in on specifics. A parent that's missing their child, like you call Jennifer Santinello and you ask her for specificity on her whereabouts, she'll give you specificity on her whereabouts. There's no wishy-washiness, and her story has always remained the same. Not like she was ever a suspect. I mean, outside of an unscrupulous PI trying to, pull a bobby on the mother of a missing child. It's disgusting as that sounds. That's what that unscrupulous PI did to Jennifer Santinello. But it when you talk to people, like even Seth, when you ask him what happened that morning, it's the same darn story. He was at work, same darn story. This is Betty. Who's this calling from?
It's River.
Hey, River, how you doing, love?
I'm doing amazing.
Awesome. So what do you have to contribute? I saw a lot of your pictures.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that they're all everyone's amazing, and I think that we'll find him soon, hopefully.
I hope so too. I'm ready for it to be. I'm ready for answers. I'm ready for this to be over and answers to be had. And I know
Yeah.
this has been a very emotional case for you as well because it touches you quite.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Thanks.
what would you like to say to the people out there, Sebastian or Seth?
I would like to say that Seth is amazing dad, that he can stay calm. That's what I like about him. He's awesome.
Aw. Well, thank you, River. Thank you for calling. It's always so nice to hear from you, your voice. Everybody loves hearing from people. So it's nice to I
Yeah.
hope you have a great day today. What are you planning on doing?
Nothing else. Nothing really.
Well, I'm going to my BFFs. My dog needs to be ran out. She's got too much energy.
Aw.
So she gets to go have a play date and she gets to roughhouse with a bunch of dogs. So she's always so happy.
Aw.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, River. Will
Thanks,
you take
y'all.
care? God bless. Bye bye.
You too. Bye.
Aw. Thank you, River. That was really sweet. I'm so glad to hear you call in. Aw. I think they overdrugged him on that stuff they had to make him sleep. Humpy and Bex. Yeah, there's been a lot of rumors and speculation that the medication he was on may have been overutilized, but just in my experience, it's so easy to think of a more passive way of thinking of how things happen, and typically it's never that nice. There's just and just based upon the CPS reports and stuff like that, I don't know. I don't know. This is Betty. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hi, my name's Jersey Junebug.
Oh, hey Jersey, how are you?
I watch a lot, but I hardly ever chat.
Aw, well, you must be one of our watchers from the bushes. Well, welcome.
Okay, so I'm calling about Steve Fisher in the car that goes up around Kellen and turns around.
Yeah.
So on the Lore Lodge interview, he says that he knows who it is, but he says he doesn't think that person even knows people are curious who it is, which to me would infer that he hasn't talked to them. So if you're an investigator looking for Sebastian, why wouldn't you talk to that person?
Amen.
So that really stood out to me, that he said that that person doesn't even know that people are probably curious who he is. So why does that person not know that? That means nobody talked to him.
I agree. I think there's a lot of things that are said by that guy that pan out to be flat out false. I mean, it is not even misinformation or disinformation. There's just flat out lies. And that's why we can't take anything he says. Once you lie, we have to question everything you put out.
Yeah. I hope he gets what's coming to him, but
I think a lot of people are in the same belief as you. I think we're all just a little tired of him and his shenanigans.
Okay, that was all I wanted
Aw,
to say. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Love Bug.
Okay, bye-bye.
Aw. I call everybody Love Bug, just to let you know. I don't know why. It's just my thing. It's my thing. This is Betty. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Hi, Betty. This is SRK.
Oh, hey, how are you doing, SRK?
I'm good. How are you? I just wanted to call in real quick and thank you and all your mods for all your hard work.
Oh, yeah, the
And
mods are the best part of the Bullhorn Betty channel. That's for sure.
I love them. They're the best. They're great. And beautiful Sonia, thank you for the phone number. I lost it.
Well, save it in your phone. Hopefully this one doesn't change. The last one I went so long without using the phone system for call-in shows that I lost my old number. And it was gone by the time I realized it.
I also want to send my love to Seth. I really don't know how he does it. This case has been so hard on all of us, but nothing compared to what Seth is going through. It's just heartbreaking.
I know.
Absolutely heartbreaking. And I'm ready for it to come to some conclusion, some resolution. I'm just really tired,
Yeah, I want Seth to know, where his son is or what happened to his son. At the end of the day, that's the goal. We want to bring Sebastian home safely. But if that's not a possibility, I want him to know what happened to his son. And
Absolutely.
and yeah, we are all taking this very hard. And we always have to remember we're not the one that taught that child how to walk, how to eat, how to speak. That was his dad, and I can't imagine the immense emotion that this, being here a year later, has to be. It every day. I'm sure it's a struggle for him.
Yes, I'm sure it is. Every day, every day. The other thing I wanted to just throw in there is I believe law enforcement has so much more than we can imagine. I remember watching and still watching the Dan Markell case, and that's been 11 years in the making. Arresting, I think they're on their 5th trial now. 4 other people have life sentences around that, and it was all brought about by the surveillance videos and the technology brought that case together. So it takes time. It takes time for them to put it together, and it takes time to build a case that's going to be solid. We don't want them rushing into this. We don't want them jumping ahead of themselves. It needs to be a solid case going into this because I think it's way bigger than we can even imagine.
Yeah. And I just it breaks my heart because we're on the flip side of this. We realize that this was a child, and all the pictures we see of him, he's so happy and smiling, and then we're finding out these horrible things going on behind those closed doors. It's awful. How did he live?
Sebastian deserves way better.
How did he find, with the pain that he was dealing with, how did he find time to smile? But he did.
He did.
He did.
He's amazing. I mean, we all fell in love with that beautiful smile, and I hope we get to see it again. I hope Seth gets to wrap his arms around his son again and welcome him back into his home, because Sebastian deserves that. He's had a tough life for a little kid, and he deserves so much more, and so does Seth.
Yeah, he should have been able to have his son. The best situation is back in their divorce. He was the major caretaker for his son. The judge should have let him keep his son. We wouldn't be here right now if Seth had his son. Period.
Right. All right. Well, I won't keep you. That's just about what I wanted to say to you.
I
love you,
appreciate
Betty,
it.
and,
Thank you.
I'm always watching in the bushes. I don't always comment and stuff, but I'm always here.
I
so.
appreciate it. God bless you.
All right. You have a great day.
You
Give
too.
Delilah a cookie for me.
I will. I smother her in kisses all day, every day. She's spoiled.
All right. You have a great day.
You too. Bye-bye. Aw, SRK. I love hearing from SRK. Thank you for calling in. Yeah, Delilah, it's so crazy. She's like smart as a whip. As soon as I start with my intro, rock it out with your coffee beans out. If you see something, when she starts hearing me go into that intro, she is at my feet. It doesn't matter where she is in this house. before my intro video even or my outro video is even played, she's at my feet, trying to get into my lap saying, "Okay, mommy, it's time to play. You're done with work. You're done with work." It's like it's freaky how she knows this stuff. It's absolutely utterly freaky. But she's a smart little girl. She's such a I don't know, she just brightens my world. I have to be honest with you. She brightens my world. For those that are just coming in, the call in is 724 This is related to the Sebastian Rogers case. We laid our foundation for our presentation this morning, which was analyzing the new photo of Katie Proudfoot the morning Sebastian was reported missing. And it raises more questions than it did answers. This is Betty. Who's this and where are you calling from?
Well, hi, Betty. It's Deanna Downey from Daytona Beach.
Well, hello, Deanna. How are you doing this beautiful but a little chilly Saturday?
Well, I'm staying in. Actually, I just woke up. I didn't get to sleep until 6 o'clock this morning.
Oh, it sounded like me at the beginning of this case.
I stayed up and watched the lab
Oh,
because of all that was until like 4:30, and I was so keyed up from the drama that's transpired between some of the creators that it just had me all sorts of upset.
yeah. Yeah, I hate that. I don't like getting into the whole creator back and forth. I just cut people out and just move on.
Well, these are creators that, well, a couple of them that we know and love, and one's fairly new to the game and, well, to the green team. Let's put it that way. None of them bad. I happen to follow a couple of them very closely and am very fond of them, and it was just upsetting to me. You know, I don't.
Yeah, it gets like that, especially when you like creators and there's stuff that goes on. That's why, like I said, everybody's entitled to their opinions, but when you start, being nasty, we're not really any different than the drama channels, and I don't like it. We have our own little thing over here, and we should, you know, ke- keep to the integrity of the cases. It's not about any of us. It's about whoever we're covering. At this point, it's a 16-year-old boy. That's the most important. We have an opportunity to sit here, breathe, and argue back and forth. We don't know where this child is, and that needs to be the focus.
Well, that's exactly right. And Seth said over and over again in the comments, I just want to find Sebastian. I just want to find Sebastian.
Yeah.
And that's what it should be about. I don't want any of us to reduce to being the hate channels.
Exactly.
I mean, I don't have a channel. No, thank you.
But sometimes, it's a weird like metamorphosis that happens on this. It's like new creators come here. They have all their good intentions of being here and doing the right thing, but then the hate channels start attacking them, and then they start, they almost like I guess like revenge or turning into them, and then they start getting mad because they feel like they're the only ones being attacked. I know I went through it myself, and then you have to decide whether you're going to be nasty, which I've done that too. I don't like it. I honestly don't. I can do it really good, but it doesn't make me feel good. I mean, it doesn't make me feel like I'm accomplishing anything. I like to feel like I've accomplished something. And hurting people's feelings and being nasty to them is not what I want to be known to accomplish.
Exactly. When I reach the pearly gates, I don't want there to be any question and the Lord God say, so why did you do this? That wasn't very nice. I want to be able to have kind of a smooth on path right on in there.
Yeah.
So it's easier to be kind.
Yeah. And I'm not going in there a perfect individual. I'm going in there a flawed individual that has a great heart. And I hope God sees the heart.
Oh my gosh, I'm not perfect. Heavens no.
But I do things grounded in the word. I can tell you that. Some are a little more I don't know, a little more questionable than others.
Yep, I was a rebel rouser in my 20s as well. Well, probably 30s and 40s too.
Yeah.
But now I'm in my 60s, so
Yeah, and I'm
I've,
I'm a
I've,
middle-aged
I've
woman now. I'm turning 46 next month. I don't got time for it. Once you go through all the drama and BS when you're 20s, you don't want to go. I mean, I want to feel like I'm 20 again. I don't want to go back there.
I go back there in a New York minute.
If I could go back to my 20s, I guarantee I would do a lot of things different, but I'd probably be a different person than I am today. I don't know if I'd like that person or not.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah. Well, I
Well,
appreciate it.
I just wanted to say once again how much I appreciate all of your hard work, your mods, the other creators. I won't name them all because there's so many that are so good and that I follow and participate in their chats. I want to give big green hugs and hearts and prayers to our dear Seth.
Yeah.
And I want to ask the Lord to keep Sebastian, our sweet Sebastian, under his arm and protect him from whatever is keeping him from coming home to Seth and all of us who love him.
Yeah. Amen to that. Amen to that. Well,
Well,
thank you,
I'll let
Deanna.
somebody else call it. I just love talking to you, Betty.
Aw.
You're such a good person.
Thank you, Deanna. Well, you have a great day and stay warm. It'll warm up this afternoon, but until then.
Okay. Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. Well, I think that's all we have for today. I know I kind of shortchanged you guys a little bit. I was hoping to stay here for an hour, but we're already creeping up to 11:30, and I've got to be out of here with Delilah. She has a play date, and her play date is super, super important to me. Like really, really, really important to me. We love Delilah, but when she doesn't get her play date, which we skipped last week, she has an extra burst of energy, and when she has this extra burst of energy, it can be a little distracting during the day. So we want to go work her out, make sure she's a healthy, happy, well-rounded puppy. So she needs constant contact with other animals and different people in order to achieve that. So today is the day that she goes and plays. So go watch and it'll blow your mind what you see. Yeah, there's a lot that we packed in here. I don't know if that was to me or to somebody else. Let's see what we got here. Harley says, I think all the creators need to just stay out of others' chat and focus on their own. I agree. You know what? This place would be a better place if they would learn some decorum. Learn some decorum on here. So it's just, it's ridiculous. Nobody's like, I could care less what people are talking about me. I don't care. The only reason why we're in this situation to begin with is because people were going real life. They were calling preachers. They were calling my church when we were just trying to do a Christmas for an 8-year-old boy. Every place they would bring chaos. Every place. Like, you can't even do a good deed like trying to get an 8-year-old freaking Christmas gifts because his mom can't afford it as a single mom without chaos from these people. So it's like, enough is enough. Everybody stay on their own effing channels, do your own effing thing, and stay the hell out of everybody else's business. Deal with your own business. It's already nasty enough. I mean, hell, we got one creator that likes to, well, lie first and foremost, but doesn't have 2 cases against her now. She's got 3 cases because she can't even keep insurance on her car while making all this ungodly amounts of money in her chat. And I tried to tell you she's got a substance abuse problem, and everybody's just fueling that. And you know what? When something happens to your creator after she has substance abuse issues and you're funding that, you are becoming an enabler of a drug problem that could kill somebody. So, you can think that. It's my suggestion to start telling your friend, if she really is your friend, that maybe she needs some help instead of enabling her. Just saying. The struggle is real. The struggle is real. So anyways, guys, that's really all I've got for today. I hope you guys stay safe out there. It's Saturday. Thank you for hanging out with me for almost 2 hours. I hope you guys learned something. Take it for what you will. Do some research. If we have any information on the time that what Mob Crew was talking about 622. It sounds like he was basing that on her statement of being out of the house at 10, for 10 minutes. I don't like that. I like to have concrete information because I don't believe anything these people say. So I everything's questionable, and I want proof for every single statement that they've made publicly if we can, and that will help expand on that timeline and us to finally put this to bed. If they have nothing to do with it, we want to move on and start focusing on the people that had something to do with it. But so far we can't do that because of all these inconsistencies. We just learned of 5 different stories about this call to law enforcement. We just heard them this morning. We just heard all 5 different. We missed the last one. I don't have time to go over it, but we will do it. I would say later this afternoon, but usually I don't do a live on Saturday afternoon. I was supposed to do one last night, which is usually a really good. Hey, Tony, is Tony in here? I see everybody saying hi to Tony. If Tony is in here, I hope you're doing well. I hope Dana's doing well. I hope everybody doing well. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. And so we've got some more to go over on this topic. We're not finished with this topic yet. But I find it awfully suspect that we have this call that went to the husband at a very significant earlier time than the 911 call. And when you look at the time between the time she allegedly called her husband and the time they called law enforcement, there's a lot going on there that doesn't make sense. Like if you're on your phone with your husband, how do you have time to text and call the father before you even go get in your car and look for your son or report your son missing to law enforcement? Some 13 minutes. And if we were to look at that timing from the time she left her house to go to the school and back, there's 5 minutes missing in that timeline. Where did the 5 minutes go? It's just that important. A lot can happen in 5 minutes. A lot can happen in a split second. Give somebody 5 minutes, a whole lot can happen. So those are the things. If you guys have any information or know where something is on social media, please try to share it, the URL, so I can look at the full context of it. If you do clip me something, that's fine. If you can remember, where that was located, please let me know the time slot and everything, so I can look at the whole entire context of the clip. Anything you can do to help me, I'd greatly appreciate it. You can send all your information to bullhornbetty@gmail.com, bullhornbetty@gmail.com. I do read stuff. I am a little behind. I literally read. I have to think in a month, well over 5,000 or 6,000 emails. So if that tells you my workload on just trying to respond to emails, that is truly how many emails I get on a monthly basis. So if I do miss you and you don't get a thumbs up or response, but you see something that you sent to me presented on my show, then I got your email. I try all the time to make sure I've gotten your email. I've received it. But I do fall short on that too. Sometimes I'm in a pinch and I just got to roll through as many emails as possible and read what everybody has to say. And I have when I just need some information, if I write it down or put it somewhere, I delete it out so I don't have to reread it and it comes off. Some of them I haven't even read. Like when I'm traveling, there's a lot of emails that go unread that I still have not been able to go back and reread. So the policy is if I don't respond to you in like a day or two, 3 at the latest, and you need a response, the best thing to do is resend the email to me. Resend the email to me. That is the absolute best thing you can do because it's gotten lost or I haven't opened it or something like that. All right, guys, don't forget to be fearless. If you see something, say something. An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And until next time, please be safe, but more importantly, kind to one another, guys. Thank you so very much for being here today. God bless each and every one of you. If we can go live later this afternoon and finish up this conversation, we will. Otherwise, I'll see you back here tomorrow after church to have this conversation. God bless to each and every one of you.
From the East Coast to the West Coast, we are everywhere true crime is. We are asking for the public's help. We are searching in the woods. We are doing what it takes here on the Bullhorn Betty channels to find answers to the most alarming cases we have been watching on the news. I can tell you personally that I have traveled this entire country seeking these answers and bringing that content right here to you here on the Bullhorn Betty channels and Bullhorn Betty Crime Stories. We are happy with the work that we've done. We brought many answers to the public, and we have defied mainstream media in our pursuit of the truth in these cases. We will continue to work, we will continue to fight for these victims, and we will continue to tell their stories here on my channels. Welcome to the Bullhorn Betty brand of channels and the Coffee Club. Thank you for your love, thank you for your support, and more importantly, thank you for allowing me to bring these victims' stories to each and every one of you, advocating for each of these victims. God bless you. God bless America, and more importantly, God bless our victims.